Anybody in the homesteading world or the small farming world would be far too ashamed to admit. We actually bought eggs.
We bought eggs at the store.
At the store. This view never, ever gets old. First thing in the morning, looking at the front pasture. So it's Sunday, just hours before you're watching this, and it's kind of funny because I did film a video yesterday. It had skits, there's going to be music, there's going to be fancy editing, but I inadvertently deleted all the files that I used for that video last evening. Long story short, the video that I was going to put out is no longer exists. So I'm doing an impromptu check-in with you guys this morning. It's the Modern Yeoman Improv. I could just skip this week, but I do like checking in with you guys. And I wanted to show you something very interesting here in the back pasture, but there's also something that kind of strange happened to us. A little unsettling, but in a very good way last evening that I thought I'd share with you. And I have a request attached to it. Holly and I were running some errands with Henry. We were at a store. I forget the store. We went to a few stores last night just to pick up some stuff. And we were at this store, and Holly was pushing Henry in the stroller, and I was walking along. And a young woman walks up to Holly, and she hands her this card. Immediately, Holly smiles. The young woman walks away, and we don't see her again. She disappears behind the fluorescence. We don't see her again. So, young woman walks up, hands Holly a card, disappears. Holly looks at the card, she smiles, and she hands me the card. This is what the card said. It said, "You can give this world special and unique things." That's it. It wasn't a political thing, like vote for Bob Johnson. It wasn't some sort of business card or advertisement or flyer or anything. It was just a random act of kindness that a stranger bestowed upon us last evening. And it made our day very bright that this stranger did this arbitrary act of goodwill for no other reason than to make us smile. And I thought to myself, I feel compelled to share that with my viewers and maybe request that you do something similar to those that you know, or maybe people you don't know. Go up to somebody and tell them a compliment. Tell them how much you appreciate them. With no expectation of any sort of response. Just make their day better. Just make them smile. This person did that to us. As unsettled and weird as these times are, it was an act that brought me some faith in humanity and made us feel very good. So maybe if somebody out there, maybe if a few people out there were to do something similar, reach out to somebody you know, somebody you don't know, give them a reason to smile. For no other reason than just to smile. Anyways, that was cool. It was weird, but in a very good way. Sometimes weird things like that happen, and man, I'm glad that happened. So part of the video that I was filming yesterday was giving you an update on what happened to the guts. I'm in the back pasture right now, and we had a whole pile of pig guts. We slaughtered our pigs last weekend, and Sang and I walked back here and dumped the guts right in this spot. And they were here. I actually checked on them every single day, and they were here every single day. It's as if nature hadn't discovered them yet. And then all of a sudden, yesterday I walk out here and they're gone. Nowhere in sight. I scoured the back pasture looking for them, and they're gone. They're just absolutely gone. So the buzzards or the coyotes or something must have taken care of them. The murder scene has been cleared with no evidence remaining. It's kind of cool to see. We gave nature her tax back. We didn't do anything with those guts. We left them out here for nature to take care of, and nature took care of it. They're gone. It's pretty cool to see.
Crush it.
You love that thing, don't you, Henry?
Yes. Crush it. Crush it.
I was joking with Holly. Why spend $25 or $30 on a 4D Montessori wood block when you can get like a 90-cent bottle of water? And he's
loves it.
far more interested in that
He loves it.
than he would be in some other toy.
Question.
The next thing that I had a funny skit all planned out for is talking about the meat. And guys, we've got a lot of meat. This is just one freezer of 3 freezers. Now, we gave quite a bit of meat and lard away. One thing I'll point out, and that I was going to point out, was how red this meat is. That's a pork heart, wrong one. Frank and Beans had really red meat, and that's shown in the meals that we had. So we cooked pork chops, and the pork chops were like almost red. It was like eating beef. I'm trying to find a good hunk of meat here. I'm not going to. Just take a look. We got a lot of meat. There's a whole other freezer outside that's filled with meat. And then our freezer on the fridge that's also filled with meat. One of the things that we did, Frank and Beans had a lot of what's called leaf lard. Now, leaf lard, long story short, is lard that's found within the cavity, within the, I think it's by the lungs. I was actually scraping it out of the pigs. And it doesn't have that porky flavor.
There's almost
right?
no scent.
It's scentless lard, and it's often used, it's highly sought after, and it's very expensive, but it's often used in things like pastries.
For baking,
and
because
baked
there's no
goods.
scent or smell, and it has a high smoke point.
And so we had a lot of this leaf lard. We gave some of it away. I think we gave some to David the Good and some to Katie, Katie Kramer. But we still had a decent amount, which what did we do with it? We rendered it, right?
Yes, and I can talk about that.
Yes.
So I wish we would have filmed it. Henry's getting hungry. I wish we would have filmed it, but we just had this huge, massive leaf lard, and I cut it up into chunks, and I put it in a
Big pot.
just a big pot. Put some water in it and put it on very low heat and just rendered it. Which I think the whole process took about 24 hours, but it just liquefies over time. And it just renders down into this beautiful white fat.
Look at that stuff,
So-
guys. Look at that, Henry.
Yeah. So I'm not a baker. I very rarely bake, and I'm not great at baking unless there's a recipe. But I am a cook, and so we'll use it in our cooking. And then when it's done rendering, all that's left are cracklings, which are kind of like pork rinds if you've ever had pork rinds. But put a little salt on those when they're hot, and they are quite tasty. But they're very rich. So that's lard rendering.
What can we do with the cracklings other than snack on them with a little salt or feed them to the chickens? Is there any other
I've
applications?
mixed them in, like we had kale the other night, and I sauteed some kale with onions, and I put some cracklings in there. So I've just been kind of sprinkling them into cooking. But if anybody has great ideas for what to do with cracklings, let us know.
Please let us know, because we've got a fair amount, right, Henry? And Henry, speaking of Henry, he actually had his first solid food the other night.
He did.
That was a video I did not delete, and that I'll show here. But it's sweet potatoes from our garden. So his very first solid food came from the homestead.
He wasn't quite sure what to think about it. I don't think he was over the moon about it, but he didn't dislike it either. He was just kind of like, what's this, Mom?
You can swallow it.
It's
Good job. You just swallowed it, buddy.
Is that food?
Final update. We are happy to say that something is working with the chickens, because we are starting to get more. There was a time when we were getting, 2 or 3 eggs a day.
Oh, if that. Some days we'd get 1 egg.
It was a sad state of affairs because
We
we have
eat-
like 30 chickens.
And we eat a lot of eggs.
And we love eggs, and we were getting like 1 or 2 eggs. And this is something that anybody in the homesteading world or the small farming world will be far too ashamed to admit. We actually bought eggs.
We bought eggs at the store.
At the store. We were having to buy eggs at the store. It was embarrassing. But things are starting to creep up. So a couple videos back, I showed you how I was giving them black sunflower seeds and mixing in protein powder into their food.
Oh, you did the protein powder?
Yeah, I did. I don't know if it's those things, but they started laying eggs again. So I skipped a day last week, and there were 14 eggs that were laid in the basket. And
Yeah,
I know,
that's
it's
pretty
incredible. And since then, they've been averaging 6 to 7 eggs a day, which things are moving up. And part of it might be because our teenage chickens, I think, are
think
starting
they're
to
of-
get to
they're
the
of
age
age.
where they're laying now. So
The age of consent.
we went grocery shopping, and we didn't have to buy eggs, which, again, that's such a
It's
shameful
very
thing to admit.
embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing,
It's so
but we've got
embarrassing.
eggs again. Sorry about the improv video today. It's not my normal edited affair, just something I had to throw together. But I did want to update you guys. What are we doing next? We're probably going to be getting turkey chicks, turkey poults soon. I'm going to start digging out these beds, and we're probably going to get some plants started, some seeds to start, because we'd like to get some greens in the ground here soon. We'd like to seriously talk about our next major animal, which I've mentioned in previous videos. We're thinking pretty heavily about sheep. The Kramers were out here today and us chatting with them about what that would take. And I think it might be something we're interested in. So maybe by I don't know, we'll see. The next few months, we'll see where life takes us. But thanks for hanging with me on this kind of impromptu journey that I gave you today. And like I said at the beginning of the video, it would mean a lot to me if you did something unexpected and kind for somebody in the next few days. That would mean a lot to me. You don't have to, but it would be cool if you did. Anyways, just wanted to give you guys an update. I didn't put a crazy video together, but I think it's worth giving you guys an update. Until we see you guys next time, remember, as always, slowly, slowly.